Leona Graham Podcast.
Brought to you by Honda School of Motorcycling, new rider programme.
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Leona Graham Podcast, sponsored by Honda Motorcycles and the Honda School of Motorcycling. Check out the new rider programme, which includes everything you need to get on 2 wheels, spreading the upfront costs. The complete package includes training, test, motorcycle, service plan and rider kit. To find out more, go to honda.co.uk or speak to your local Honda dealership. Coming up on this episode, I'm joined by the lead singer of T'Pau, Carol Decker. She'll be telling me all about the surprising story behind China in Your Hand, which was actually inspired by Frankenstein, and about how she once accidentally punched Elton John. You'll get the chance to win tickets to see blues artist Will Wilde on his UK tour and a signed CD. And Anna Geary is back to tell me all about her New Year's resolution to not go to the gym. In music news, thanks to music-news.com, Ozzy Osbourne is in talks to perform his final show with Black Sabbath despite recent health battles. He said he's dying to get out there and play, according to Geezer Butler, and he would jump at the chance to do a one-off final show with them. I think that would be amazing. I actually wore my new Black Sabbath socks this week. Took a picture of them, posted it online. Because of the angle with my jeans being slightly in the way, someone said, "Leona, why are you wearing ABBA socks?" As if, well, someone who would not make that kind of fashion error is the one and only Carol Decker of T'Pau.
A-side.
Please welcome. Hi, Carol Decker, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, embracing the new year with vigour.
That is good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, welcome to the podcast. And I want to know, which came first for you, acting or music?
Oh, music, definitely. Yeah, I started singing quite late in life for the pop world, so I'm told. I was 22 when I decided to go for it. And that sort of led on to a marvellous career, which thankfully is still going. And then I was lucky enough to get approached to act in a few little bits and bobs when I was in my 40s.
So what happened up to 22 then? What were you doing at that point?
Wandering lonely as a cloud, really. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I'd gone to a very straight-laced girls' grammar school. So when I did my A-levels, I didn't really know what to do with myself. And I was just in and out of dead-end jobs. I didn't go to uni and went back to art school at the age of 22 and started going to parties, hanging out with people who were photographers. They wanted to do poetry. They all dressed really weirdly. I painted my Doc Martens different colours. One was green, one was red. That was really rebellious. And I was always singing along to the radio in the studio, and someone said, you should do something with your voice. I'm going to a party at the weekend. A friend of mine, Julian, will be there. He's a guitarist in a local band. They're looking for a singer. You should have a go at this. And so I met Julian, and then I went and auditioned in a garage in Ludlow, and got the job. And I took to it like a duck to water. I absolutely loved it, and I was just natural show off. It sort of fitted me really. And that was it. And I was off.
And how did T'Pau form then from that?
Well, so I'm in a local band, and we were just playing working men's clubs and pubs, and you do a combination of covers and then try and slot in a couple of your own songs and hope they don't all pee off to the bar,
Yeah.
And there was another band called The Cat, and they were very popular, talented, funny. And the lead singer, frontman, Ronnie Rogers, was funny and incredibly handsome. So I went to see him and his band, heard all about them. They were kind of like the local competition, And as they say, I set my cap for him. I thought, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. So I poached him out of the band, and he was my boyfriend for the next 14 years. And we started to write for what was the Lasers, which is what we called ourselves. And then we decided we were going to take a risk. And Ronnie left his job as a telephone engineer, and I signed on the dole, and we borrowed some money off my dad, and we just started writing and sending tapes away to record companies. Got a tiny little publishing deal from MCA, but it was so hard slog trying to get a record deal. And then finally we got a showcase in a studio called Nomis in Shepherd's Bush. So Virgin put us in there for an afternoon to see what we were all about, and we got our break.
So really. Where did the name T'Pau come from?
I was back home in Shrewsbury pottering around in the flat, and the telly was burbling away in the corner, and it was the old TV show of Star Trek, with Captain James T. Cook.
Yes.
And I kept hearing this T'Pau, 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 and I just liked the word, and I turned around and paid attention to the show for a minute, and she was this Vulcan high priestess, and I thought, yeah, there's a bird with a bit of moxie. I like her, and I put it to the band, and it was the one they hated the least.
So it was actually a character in Star Trek?
She is, yeah, she is.
Wow, I didn't know that.
The only female on the Intergalactic Council, Leona. Educate yourself, Google her.
So tell us the story behind China in Your Hand.
Again, the telly is involved. And there was this documentary that I watched, and it was all about Mary Shelley writing the Book of Frankenstein. So she was 19 and she writes this incredible piece of pulp fiction that's massively successful. And she's married to Percy Bysshe Shelley, and they're big friends with Lord Byron and this whole crowd of intellectuals. And all of a sudden she's like number one everywhere with this book, and they're all super jealous, and they're arguing amongst themselves about its validity, its intellectualism. There was real sort of infighting amongst them all. And I was fascinated by that story. I'd never heard it before. And, we all probably know the story of Frankenstein, which is man playing God and, creating this tragic monster and everything that goes wrong. And the book was a monster in itself and caused lots of problems within their set of friends. And so I wrote it about that, about her writing the story of Frankenstein. And then it becomes a sort of parable for be careful what you wish for. And that was it. And it was half finished. It wasn't part of the song list that got us a record deal. So when we were outside Chicago recording, one song wasn't working on the album, and Roy Thomas Baker said, we're wasting time on this, we've got to dump it. And he said, have you got anything else? And I said, well, I've got this, but it's not finished yet. And played in the sort of first verse and chorus. And he said, that's a brilliant song. And so I just took myself off for a couple of hours, finished writing it. And Roy made it what it is, really. And, obviously he's the master of the big ballads, as Bohemian Rhapsody would tell you. So it was in safe hands, and it just became this huge song, massive song.
It's mad that it wasn't originally included and you just, it was a bit of an afterthought. That's incredible.
B-side.
Earlier on, you mentioned you're an actor. What's been your favourite role or acting project to do?
The one I'm doing right now, actually. So I'm in a musical called Now That's What I Call a Musical. So last year, 2024, the Now albums, the compilation albums, they were 40 years old, unbelievably. And so a musical was written around them about two girls who grow up in Birmingham. One goes off to Hollywood, the other one stays home. 20 years go by, they reconnect, and lots of amazing songs are worked into the script. And there is a dream sequence where one of the characters, Gemma, she's had a childhood heroine, and it's different 80s pop stars in different towns. So when I'm in it, she goes, what would you do, Carol Decker from T'Pau? And I appear like God in this beautiful white Nadine Marabi suit with all sequins everywhere. And I have 4 angels all dressed in white, and they all have giant china teacups. And I have the answers to everything. And then we sing China in Your Hand, and the audience they stand up. We're getting standing ovations. It's been amazing. But I love it. I play myself. It's a cameo. We take the Mickey out of me and the song wonderfully. I love it.
That's so good. So can we see it soon, or you had your stint?
Yeah, I have another March at the New Theatre in Oxford. Yeah.
Now, you've toured with some amazing artists, both with T'Pau and as a solo artist. Who's been your favourite to work with?
Oh, that's a hard call because they all bring so much. My dear friend Nick Kershaw, who I think is one of the most talented people ever. First big break for us was to be his opening act on the Radio Musicola tour in '87. Then we jumped on 3 months across Europe with Bryan Adams. So that was just not worthy. Absolutely fantastic. We went to number 1 while we were on that tour with him, which he wasn't very happy about because he was meant to be at number 1, not us. He bought us champagne and congratulated. It was good fun. Oh, I love Heaven 17 and my dear friends. Kim Wilde is fantastic. Just so many people that are just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I'd love to meet Kim Wilde, actually. I haven't met her. I've seen her live at one of the Butlins weekends a couple of times. She's awesome, isn't she? She's gorgeous, and she's a lovely person as well.
Yeah.
Really person. Do you have any embarrassing stage moments or crazy tour stories?
I'm not that crazy, actually. I mean, I do drink a bit of wine. I remember in Canada, we were playing a small club and people were seated and there were little round tables, almost like a sort of jazz club, but we were doing a rock show and the stage was the same level as all the tables. And I decided I was going to step out onto one of the tables and it tipped up, just ended up in a heap. And I think a lot of people's chicken wings fell on my head or something. You name it, it's happened to me. Things like when we were doing really well, we did a Princess Trust and somebody came up to me at the dinner afterwards, the gala afterwards, and said, "Oh, Elton would like to meet you." And I went, "Oh, okay, you know." So I was at the buffet and Elton's striding towards me. And of course, I didn't know him. So I stretched my hand out to shake his hand and he went for the big theatrical hug. So I ended up like punching him straight in the stomach. And another time, Jeff Beck, the late, great Jeff Beck, came to our after-show party at Hammersmith Odeon and somebody said, "Carol, I'd like to introduce you to Jeff." And I stepped forward to shake hands, and I skidded on a discarded piece of lemon from a gin and tonic, and I slipped straight in, and my face ended up in his crotch because I could steady myself, and I grabbed hold of his belt buckle and Jeff goes, "Ma, you are pleased to meet me, aren't you?" Because I was like face down in his tackle, you know. So yeah, I've slipped on a lot of actual and metaphorical banana skins along the way.
You'd be a social media star if those things were filmed.
Exactly.
Oh wow!
Bonus tracks.
First artist you loved.
Gosh, I would probably say Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson, definitely.
First film or TV show you remember loving?
I think I went to see The Sound of Music 5 times.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Loved it.
First date you went on?
Oh, I was probably about 14 and it was with a neighbour's son up the road. His name was Henry Gocken, very handsome. And we went for a walk in a field and we lay down to have a snog and we laid down in a nest of ants.
Oh.
So got up, slapping ourselves and each other very quickly.
Right, quick fire questions now. Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
If you could play any instrument in a band, what would you want to play and why?
Drums. I'm a very percussive singer. I really react to the drums a lot when I sing. I kind of twitch in all the different places where the snares hit and I know where all the fills are and stuff.
Best pizza topping?
Margarita. Simple, plain, proper. Can I just say, when I'm Prime Minister, none of you will be able to have chicken tikka pizzas or any other weird pizza topping. It will be strictly Italian classic topping, so be prepared for that.
Are we allowed Hawaiian?
I like Hawaiian. Now, my husband thinks that's an aberration. Pineapple.
Because of the pineapple, yeah. I like pineapple, but some people are really offended by it. Liverpool or Shrewsbury?
Shrewsbury.
If you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's Boys of Summer, Don Henley.
Well done, that's a good answer. Favourite song you've ever written?
Heart and Soul.
Another regular thing we do on this podcast is the dramatic reading. So imagine the lyrics to China in Your Hand are a big stirring epilogue of a tragic play.
Yes. It was a theme she had on a scheme he had, told in a foreign land, to take life on earth to the second birth, and the man was in command. It was a flight on the wings of a young girl's dreams that flew too far away, and we could make the monster live again. Oh, hands move and heart beat on, for now life will return in this electric storm. A prophecy for a fantasy, the curse of a vivid mind. Don't push too far. Your dreams are China in your hand. Don't wish too hard, because they may come true and then you can't help them. You don't know what you might have set upon yourself. China in your hand.
Can tell you're an actress. That was fantastic. Thank you, Carol. Well, thank you for joining me. It's been great to chat to you.
It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you again. And I love following you on social media. You always cheer me up.
That's good to know. Thank you, Carol.
Lots of love. Bye.
The Leona Graham Podcast.
Brought to you by Honda School of Motorcycling. New rider programme.
Competition time now. Win a pair of tickets to see blues legend Will Wilde anywhere on his UK tour, plus a signed CD. His album, #1 on the blues charts on Amazon, is called Blues is Still Alive, and his tour starts in March through to May all over the UK, including London's legendary 100 Club. Answer this multiple choice question to win 2 tickets to see him live. What is the name of the Gary Moore song that Will Wilde always includes in his set list? Is it A, Bordeaux Pavements, B, Nice Paths, or C, Parisian Walkways? Message me on my socials at Leona Graham DJ with your answer and email address. Get your entry in by the 19th of January at midnight, and the winner will be contacted by midnight on Monday the 20th of January 2025. Now for my latest catch-up with fellow broadcaster, journalist and pal Anna Geary, who very kindly brought me an early birthday present, although I'm pretty sure she had her own agenda for buying this particular gift. Hi Anna, welcome to the first podcast of the year.
This is exciting.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. You got any news or exciting things to tell me?
I've actually got something to give you.
Oh, curious.
Right?
What is it? Dolly beer.
Dolly Parton beer.
Oh
Can
my
you
God.
believe it?
So I've got AC/DC beer for Christmas and you're giving me Dolly beer for January, my birthday,
It's
by the way.
brewed in Wales.
It's brewed in Wales.
Yeah,
All right,
'cause
I
you
will
know
give it a
that's-
try.
That's
I will.
where I went. I hope you enjoy it.
It's called Tennessee Blonde, big, bold, blonde, made with Zappa and secret experimental hope. Oh, hops. I thought that sounds so American with hope.
And that is something
Blech.
that Dolly would say
Yeah,
as
it
well.
is, isn't it? I think I should just send that to them. Say, Leona's got a better line for your beer here. Oh, thank you.
You're
It is my
very
birthday
welcome.
soon, so I'll accept that as a gift. Have you got any New Year's resolutions?
Well, I was thinking one that I kind of kept last year is about trying to go and see something on the West End at least once a month.
That's a good one. So what are you doing in January?
In January, I'm going to
God.
see one called "Why Am I So Single?"
Why am I so
Yeah,
single?
do you want to ask who I'm going with?
Go on.
On my own.
You're going on your own to Why Am I So Single?
Yeah.
The chances are you might meet a wonderful guy there,
You never know. You never know.
you know? That's awesome. My one is to do less, actually.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
I feel like I keep going to things or doing things I don't really want to do.
yeah.
So I'm going to start saying, no, I'm not going to that.
Say no more.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
you're going to do more and I'm going to do less.
That sounds about right.
And what about the other January favourite? Have you been to the gym more, doing more exercise?
So I tell you what, I've actually cancelled my membership.
I love it. You're so contrary.
Nice. I know. I am just this very left field, isn't it? Because I just decided I was not going enough last year, and it was like £56 a month.
Right.
It's quite a lot for you know.
What are you going to do
not
instead
going.
then? You're going to do
Well,
other
I'm gonna
exercise?
Run. I do a bit of running. Obviously, at the moment, it's very difficult because it's so cold and you can just feel it in your bones
Yeah.
when you're running. But I will run and I will just go for a swim, I think, once a week. Oh, what about you with the gym?
The opposite.
So you've joined
Always
a
the opposite to
gym.
you. So yeah, I've joined gym and I've gone one step further. I've got a personal trainer.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's an
okay.
Irish guy and he's hilarious and he is just so strict and he shouts at me and he gives me all these instructions. I have to send him photographs of all my food and then he goes, you shouldn't be eating that.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've found this before, but when you go and like say you don't know what you're doing with weights, which like I would definitely not.
Yeah.
It's just doing it in front of other people that's you're a bit scared about it.
Yeah, it is
unless
embarrassing.
You've got someone that's there helping
Yeah, because when
you.
I'm not with him, he gives me a program to do, and he gets me doing these ridiculous things, really embarrassing. Like there's this gigantic weighted ball I have to smash onto the floor and then catch it. But
Yeah.
it makes a massive bang, and then all these beefy blokes look over like, "What is that crazy woman doing?" So yeah, there are embarrassing moments, but I've started just putting in headphones and sort of blocking them out.
Hey, talking of headphones,
Yeah.
I got a new pair of headphones recently. Have you heard of them? They're called Shocks.
No.
Oh, so they're on the outside of your bone. They just sit on your bone, so
What?
you hear it through like bone conduction.
That sounds ridiculous. There's something on the edge of your face called ears.
You don't put them in your ears, you put them on your bone. So the idea of them really is so that if you need to be aware of what's going on around you, but you're still listening to your music.
I get over that just by wearing one ear.
Okay.
So next time, let's have a try of these shock things and see what we think.
I'll bring them in.
Okay.
And then you can try them. Because they're really brilliant. And I'd not really been into it before.
It sounds weird. I don't think I'd like it, but let's try it.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 4 and the first episode of 2025. I'll be back again next month with more music conversations and another competition. This has been the Leona Graham podcast with me, Leona Graham, sponsored by Honda Motorcycles, produced by Emily Moulton, and brought to you by Whitney Wild One. See you next time.
The Leona Graham Podcast.
Brought to you by Honda School of Motorcycling, new rider programme. Everything you need to get on two wheels, spreading the upfront costs. The complete package includes training, test, motorcycle, service plan and rider kit. Find out more on honda.co.uk or speak to your local Honda dealership.